Guys, it's TCP morning. Wake up, guys. It's TCP in the morning.
Wake up!
Wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up!
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. It's TCP in the morning.
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 It's TCP in the morning. It's TCP in the morning.
TCP in the morning.
It's 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 TCP in the morning.
Good morning. Wake up, y'all. It's TCP in the morning with the morning tea.
Sing the song here in a minute.
TCP in the morning.
I'm the executive director at the Mix in Lancaster City. We serve youth ages 7 to 17, and we offer a variety of enrichment programs to youth of all ages, all grades, from first grade all the way up to 12th grade. And we're really here to be a safe space for the youth, not just here in the city, but really any youth that are here in Lancaster County. I would say the biggest impact that COVID has made for the Mix, again, is probably just on the mental and the trauma that I've seen our kids really experience. And although there was a lot of trauma and there was a lot of, mental health issues that were exposed throughout the whole, COVID season, I think our kids have shown a lot of resiliency through it. Just having to, go to school virtually basically all year. They've had to basically navigate through some of the toughest times that they've ever had to navigate through in their lives. None of us have ever lived through a global pandemic, and just to see the effect that this virus and this pandemic has had on our children has been really tough. But on the flip side of that, it's also shown us that we can be more resilient than we think we can be in any given moment. So one of the biggest pivots that we had to make in the last year was when our local school district of Lancaster, decided that they were going to be virtual all school year. We made the decision pretty quickly to pivot and shift all of our programming. So when we typically would just provide after-school programming, we actually opened up our doors and provided a space where parents could bring their kids all day long, just like a school. So we were here from 7 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, providing a safe space where our kids could come. Our families knew that their kids were safe. And while they were here, our staff were able to kind of meet the needs that were arising every day. And they weren't just academic needs, they were on the social, emotional end of the spectrum as well. So for me personally, I think COVID has exposed a lot of trauma. Again, I've experienced loss in my own family, and it's just kind of created this space where trauma has just really been highlighted and exposed, not just for me personally, but just seeing that in the people that I'm close to. So I got vaccinated in May of this year, and I decided to finally get vaccinated because although it was a personal decision for me, something I learned a long time ago is that it's not about me, and that I made the decision for not just for myself, but for my family, for my community, for the kids that I serve every single day who unfortunately are not able to get the vaccine. And so it was really important for me to be able to set that example. And although there was some hesitancy at first, but I think making that decision was a very good decision, and I would encourage anyone to do the same. I think it just all goes back to resiliency. Again, I think we learned so much about ourselves individually and collectively as a community, what we are really capable of doing when we work together for the good of others, really. And when it boils down to it, it's about looking out for one another. And, when we experience adversity, when we go through tough times, when we go through difficult seasons, it really, is an opportunity for us to just come together and look out for one another.
Yeah.
How dare we?
How dare we?
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?
Can you
look
guys
look,
hear
look
us?
at us. Yes.
You can see us.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning to you. Good morning, America.
Yes.
Good morning.
I can't rock to it because it's too low.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Folks, good morning to you. Hey, let's welcome to the welcome to the show.
Welcome to the
Ladies
show.
and gentlemen, wake your ass up, brush your teeth, brush your ass. Your morning team is back. Look, listen, folks, happy Thursday to you. Thirsty Thursday.
It is.
We are in Maryland. What I like to
Yep.
call it, Merlin, depending on where you're from and who you with. Folks, it is TCP in the morning, the best thing that you can have in your cup. We want to welcome you to Melanated News, Melanated Media. We got
Yes.
the team here. Sarge, what up, man?
What up, Phil? How you guys doing? Happy Thursday.
Yes.
Our Friday. We down here in Bmore.
Yes.
With a special guest interview.
Special.
Hometown hero.
Yes.
Hometown favorite.
Yes.
We'll put her up here right now.
Ah.
Right here right now. I hope y'all
Look, they can't even hear you, Saul.
Look, he's so excited. He's so excited.
5 minutes of airtime gone.
I came in with spirit fingers. All right, listen. We got a special interview. What up,
Yes.
you guys? Listen, down here in Baltimore, if you didn't hear me the first time, I'm ready to do this.
Yes.
So I ain't going to repeat myself.
You dig. Lady L, what up, though?
Good morning. Hey, guys, listen, I don't have my black formations today because as we were packing up, I was like, oh, I got to go. However, I will have some stuff in the comment section for you later on during the show, so stay tuned for your black formation today because it is Black History Month, and I still want to shout out as we continue to look through these banned books. All right. Also, we do have a phenomenal guest with us today, Miss Quinn Conyers.
Yes.
Also, don't forget this week we are still giving away tickets to Oral Traditions and Sounds for the Ware Center. So join us tomorrow at Crispus Attucks Community Center for week 5 for the Health Equity Now Music Festival featuring my handsome husband co-host, favorite local band.
Yes. Swim good. You and I must be legendary lovers.
Yes.
Yo, yes.
So go ahead, share the stream.
Yes.
Because friends don't watch TCP alone.
Yes. Friends don't let friends TCP alone. The best thing that you can have in your cup, folks. My name is Marquise Lupton, also known as DJ Quiet Storm. One of 3 hosts, one of 4 personalities on this thing that we call TCP in the morning. And let's not forget the man behind the veil, the man on the wheels and steels, the voice of God, DJ Double O. Yes. Right, none. No camera.
You ain't got a microphone.
Like we said, the voice of God. So
He wore a nice shirt today.
right, he did. And you know what? He got on Morgan State colors. Love it. Love it.
Even put on some jeans today.
They was coming at your DJ because they was like, yeah, he was gonna be on the show with flip flops and t-shirts. Y'all don't notice. It's a light snow coming.
Yo.
And he was gonna come down here with flip flops and t-shirt, y'all.
He has his dude gear. That's his dude gear.
We are not on that island.
Yo, here it is, right?
Yeah,
here it
makes
is.
it okay.
Bus. So folks, like we said, we have a jam-packed show for you today. We have some news topics to get to, and then we are going to be talking with Ms. Quinn Conyers about everything her, everything Black Girl Magic, and everything AT&T. You hear me? Like it is going to be a jam-packed show, folks. Buckle up. This is going to be a heady show. Like this is going to be one of those things that you tune in and share and be like, hey, remember how like back in the day people used to be like, yo, Oprah's on. You know?
Oh my goodness.
That was a commercial. Like Oprah's on. Hey everybody. Oprah, like yo, same thing, same kind of energy.
I missed out.
You did?
I didn't get that commercial.
That's because he was a slave. Remember?
Oh yeah, you were in the.
Here we go.
Right. Live with the Amish. and you prove our point. Like, how you miss Oprah? How'd you miss? How?
Some of us were outside playing.
See? America. Playing. Isn't this the problem in Manhattan Township with your sons? Like,
Wait a minute.
didn't they call slavery like you know?
Oh,
like
he don't have his mic again.
I'm about to talk like double.
No, but didn't your kids' school like say like slavery the slaves were having fun or something like that?
No.
Yeah, well treated slaves.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No.
What did they say, Sarge?
This is what I said.
Uh-huh.
Son came home.
Uh-huh.
He's like, hey, Dad.
Uh-huh.
Learned about Harriet Tubman today.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
She was
The best.
slave.
Here you go. There you go.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Big difference.
we weren't. Right. Like we were so far off. But folks, good morning to you all. Don't be rude. Say it back. So Lisa, good morning. Sabrina, good morning. Taekwon, good morning. Corinne, good morning. Venus, good morning. Lisa says, ooh. And Venus says, morning from rainy Lancaster, and says, to the older auntie, he's Teddy P.
No. Oh, no. I think he likes that Don Cornelius.
No. Yo, they're about to cancel Don Cornelius posthumously. Yo.
Before y'all go throwing our uncle Cornelius under the bus, we got some more good mornings. Good morning. I got to see some new people here. Good morning, Kelly Ann. Good morning, Corinne.
Yes.
Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Nicole. Ship. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning to our
Black Lady Doctor.
Yes, Dr. Sharice Hamlin. Thank you for watching. Good morning. And don't forget, listen, come on out and you can meet our Black Lady Doctors live and in person.
Yes.
This Friday.
Yes, tomorrow.
At Crispus Attucks.
Yes.
6 to 9.
Yes. So folks, I believe it's that time. It's that time to give the people the news. This is what they are here for. We don't got the intro music, so give the people, give the people what they want. Thanks for stopping by. Our first story for today, folks, takes us to the story that we have been following on the last 2 days with the HBCU bomb threats. It began with one cluster of schools at the beginning of the week, and then it continued on to another cluster of schools, and now the FBI has identified 6 minors in the HBCU bomb threats. This story comes from Blavity.com, and it reads, the FBI has identified 6 minors as persons of interest connected with the bomb threats against HBCUs on Monday. A law enforcement official noted that the 6 suspects identified live across the United States and are presumed juveniles. In addition to being very tech savvy, the minors use advanced methods to conceal their identities. The initial bomb threat took place on Monday, targeting at least 6 HBCUs across the states, and 1 day before the start of Black History Month. This is an NBC Washington report. Schools from Howard University in Washington, D.C., the University of District Columbia, Morgan State University in Baltimore were among the HBCUs that received bomb threats earlier this week. So this comes from Blavity, like we said, and they have apprehended 6 juveniles for this. Can I say that I am not the least surprised? When I saw this, it brought to mind when you reprimanded one of your players, so talking about racism. Like, hey, do you think that racism is funny? Do you think that joking around in a racist way is the right thing to do? And that's really what I thought here. not taking anything away from these heinous acts, because even though they're juveniles, I believe that they should be put under the jail, and their name should be put out there, because if you're bold enough to make threats to these institutions of education, then your name should be dragged regardless how old you are.
I mean, but because they are schools, how is that not some kind of federal crime?
Right.
Like they're schools, they're institutions, they're funded in part by the federal government.
Right.
They're their schools.
Right.
When you think about it. But not only that, when we think about in terms of, and you know, we always gotta take it there. We gonna go there. When you think about it in terms of black children committing crimes, or even the issue of the shootout that happened in New Jersey last year with the little girl, and the cops had shot the little girl.
Yeah.
And then said it was the juveniles that was like 6 blocks away, because they shot fires, right? And then the cops were like, "Oh, well, we heard something, so we just started shooting."
Right.
And they shot a 6-year-old little girl. One of those people was a juvenile. That didn't stop them from putting his name out there. That didn't stop them from putting his age out there.
Right.
Didn't stop them from talking about what block he lived on. Right. So the fact that by not telling us, you're telling us everything. When you say that they're juveniles, that's code for their white children.
Yeah.
Because when there are children, oh, so and so, such and such, age 16 years old.
Yeah.
We thought it was against the law to do that, except when it comes to us. And here we go.
Yep.
With the conversation that there are 2 justice systems here in America, one for white people and one for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, we already said this was going to happen. When we called this, we said whoever gets caught, it's probably going to be boys being boys.
And
We said that's how it was going to happen. They were going to slap on the wrist, no matter who it is. This was a coordinated effort across the United States.
Right.
All right, so to say, oh, this is just a couple kids who were using some pretty intense, pretty evasive tactics
Right.
to evade the FBI and Homeland Security for all this time. This has been going on since November.
Right.
All right, so no, there shouldn't be a slap on the wrist. There needs to be some real ramification, and I put it on the parents. The parents making them feel comfortable enough, making them feel like they had to do something.
Right.
Because maybe they weren't at the January 6th insurrection. You know, so they feel like this is their way of making their point of, you know what, we're going to get back at them. They won't be smart. They won't be able to do this and that. You know, and it's messed up on every level. And they should put the names out, put the parents' names out, and I bet you we'll find some more stuff.
And like pull up summer last year.
Yeah.
Pull up.
Yeah. Let's bring our guest in here. Quinn, have you been following this story? And if you have, what were some of your thoughts after hearing about the bomb threats? Because some of these schools, like Morgan State, are right in your vicinity.
Yeah, I actually have heard about it, and I thought it was very unfortunate. And it's interesting because as soon as I heard about it, I'm like, that ain't us. That is not us. We're not going to do that. We're not going to tear down black excellence.
Right.
So as soon as I heard about it, because yes, I'm in Baltimore and I live like not too far from Morgan. So when I saw it, I'm like, this is about to be some mess. But you know, you guys mentioned something that is so interesting is because I feel like society and the world tends to demonize black youth. And then we victimize the white youth, right? It's almost like they came from this type of parent, this type of household. This is not, you know, they were at risk, you know, all these labels.
Yep.
But then there's a gentleness and a kindness with Billy and them, right?
Yep.
And I think that whoever is responsible, they need to be broadcasted just like our faces will be broadcasted. But, you know, I think that right now, I mean, it's the glow up. Black people are winning. We in style. We're doing the damn thing. And people are getting upset and frustrated. So they're going to attack the places that we celebrate and we honor. So, you know, I'm a proud, you know, graduate of Howard University.
Hey.
You know, so it's just interesting how, again, it's just interesting to me how it's just almost like a slap on the wrist, or we don't want to publicize their names because, again, they didn't really know what they're doing. It's almost like they lessen and weaken it. But if it's us, we are made to look like we are unruly and we are savages and we don't know how to act. And what parent raised them? Do they have a parent? You know?
Right, yep.
Versus, oh, you know, he was just acting out. So I think it's accountability that needs to be called to the table. Blast their pictures, blast their ages like you would do somebody else. But also, too, kudos for the people taking it seriously and actually digging into it, you know?
Right.
And making sure that we find what's going on and who's behind this, because it's uncalled for, and I believe that justice needs to be pushed and pursued.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how it only took for them to to send bomb threats to just about every HBCU across the United States.
Right.
But
you know what though? It's a bomb threat today, and then in 12 years is trying to take down the presidency again.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's their children screaming in the grocery store, and we looking like, you ain't gonna pop them. You know, and then they're cursing out their teachers in 5 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But for us, there's not that bandwidth in society. You know, because let's be real. We as women, if we see a black child screaming in the store, we both gonna look like, Mom, you need some help. You all good? They can come visit me, right? We're gonna offer community, and we're gonna offer support and resources. And that needs to be extended beyond our community, right? Like, black people support black people. We offer resources to one another. But when we step outside of our community, it's almost like hunting season or all shots fired on black people season. And I feel like we haven't talked about this yet, but for most places, you know, you go to Philly, there's like a little China, little Italy, things like that. We need our own little Africas just across in every state where black people can just come together and have our own communities. And I mean, as we continue to talk about these stories and have these things, stuff like banning our books isn't going to alleviate bomb threats at HBCUs.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, the bomb threats came after y'all started talking mess.
Yeah. Yeah. And escalated it.
Right.
Yep. There were some more colleges as well. It just wasn't the Maryland area. So Albany State University in Georgia, Bethune-Cookman University in Florida, Delaware State University, obviously in Delaware, Southern University, and A&M College in Louisiana. So I mean, this was it's a terrorism cell. You know, it's a terror cell, like our comment section, which is on fire right now, is going off about. So
don't be calling our audience members acting like they terror. Don't be doing that.
They are on fire, fired up and ready to go. Ashley says she was the best slave because she helped with the Underground Railroad, is what he said. All right, so thank you for that. Gary, good morning to you. Corinne says, so these juveniles were taking racist notes from their parents, I'm sure. Sick. Yes, charge them as adults. That's what the system would do if it were our sons. Before being convicted, they release our sons' names. Gary said, did they leave out the part that these juveniles are going to be freshmen at Alabama, Penn State, and LSU? They are all upset with Deion Sanders, Jackson State University football coach. Yo.
That's what it's about.
What about the hate crime charge?
And right.
Think about kids that get into fights in schools. Kids that get into fights in schools, they'll put their names in the paper.
And you might get an aggravated assault charge.
They'll get a whole charge, but what's going to happen with these kids?
Right.
They need to be charged with something. Like, you know what? You can't get your license until you're 30.
Right, and then we literally just talk about like a terrorist ARD program or something like that, because they're doing these slaps on the wrist. Like, they're not, as far as how we've seen how punitive the justice system can be, how it can really enforce law and really come down on a person with some foolishness, even like the 3 strikes law. They really do whatever they want. And then we sit and watch them play games and offer other words and things to make it seem like it's not what it is.
Well, if these kids are from the right place, if they're from Texas, if they're from Wisconsin, you know, if they're from Indiana, they're going to be okay.
If they're from Florida,
they're going to get off. They're going to get off, and hey, you guys do a couple hours of community service, and there you go. Go about your day. Go about your business. Don't do it again.
Cherise, Dr. Hamlin says, adultification, those terrorists need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And then she says, it's a coordinated bomb threat today. It was harassment of their black and brown classmates for the past 10 years. This just didn't pop up. I'll bet there is a trail of do's in each of these terrorist histories. Absolutely. Right. So folks, we are going to keep it moving. It is 8:30 right now. So Sarge, can you take us to our next story, please?
Yes. All right, Grambling State University is to unveil the NIL deal that will allow scholarship student athletes at the school to receive an annual income. A spokesperson for the Louisiana-based HBCU confirmed VIA emailed on Wednesday that it was signed an NIL deal, but declined to comment further. ESPN reporter Pete Thamel broke the news on Monday about developing the NIL program at Grambling State, which he said might be the first of its kind. Urban Edge Networks and Athletic have committed to providing income for all the school's scholarship athletes in conjunction with the program, according to Thamel. Both companies did not immediately respond on Wednesday to a request for comment. The income amount is unclear right now. This should help new Grambling football coach Hugh Jackson as he starts building the Grambling program. The U.S. Supreme Court cleared the way last summer for student athletes to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. The court's unanimous ruling against the NCAA reaffirmed the lower court's decision that the collegiate athletics regulatory body's restrictions on educational-related benefits for college athletes violated antitrust law. The NCAA has spent decades resisting the creation of a policy that would allow student athletes who help generate billions of dollars for universities across the country to be paid for their services. Critics, including the undefeated opinion writer Brandy Collins Dexter, have argued that the NCAA old policy essentially turned black student athletes in big money sports such as football and basketball into slave laborers. The NCAA responded days later to the Supreme Court's ruling by adopting an interim policy that suspended its amateurism rules for college athletes. The policy change came one day before 8 states were scheduled to enact their own NIL legislation. Since then, college athletes, including recent Xavier University transfer Hersey Miller and Jackson State University quarterback Shadir Sanders, have signed lucrative NIL deals. Miller, who's the son of hip-hop mogul Master P, signed a $2 million NIL deal last year. Sanders, son of NFL Hall of Famer and Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders, became the first HBCU athlete to sign a NIL deal with Gatorade earlier this month. We talked about this. We've been following this story since it first came out. Way back, we were in the bunker.
Yeah.
In the garage. We talked about how it would change the outlook on HBCU sports, or how they would be able to attract the better athletes.
Right.
Instead of having them go to the Big Ten, the SEC, the NCAA, which don't really care about them, not really taking care of them. And the way it's set up, the way they had it set up before is, like you would go to college, and your family could be starving at home. Mm-hmm. You could be a great athlete, great player. You can dominate. You'll make the school all this money. Yep. And you know what happens? Hey, we're paying your scholarship.
Right.
We're paying this however much money a month, but your family still has to be broke, and we're still make all this money off these people coming to watch you play every week.
Right.
Like, it wasn't right. So these deals, this NIL deal, these deals need to happen. All right, the NCAA is going to lose money. They should lose money. They lose more of it.
It's $1 billion. I mean, the NCAA, it's a $1 billion industry, and like I'm looking at not the students that are going to like on the Alabamas and the Clemsons of the world or anything like that. I'm looking at the students that are going to like the Shippensburgs and the Millersvilles and even the Coppin States of the world. Because now this gives them an opportunity to make money off of their own image. Like imagine, all right, that number 2 jersey in the school store. If you're number 2 and you're an outstanding player, the school and the school store is making money hand over fist because that number 2 jersey is one of the top selling jerseys. 4 years ago, it wasn't, because number 2 was a whole different person. It was probably trash. Now it's you, and you can't even, then you can't even benefit off of that. So I love this, and I love what Grambling is doing, because right. It's like, we're going to use our NIL to give everybody a scholarship on a football team. Like, you play football, you come here, play for free. Like, that's how we're utilizing this NIL and even the PPP money as well. So to bring in Quinn on this, because you teach at a HBCU. So to bring you in, how do you feel about this name, image, likeness phenomenon that's happening right now?
It's interesting because I believe that, they are influencers in their own right. So if Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook can pay people to post and do different things on social media platforms, and we are investing in them because they have a network or they have followers, you know, it's the same thing. So, you know, if I would add to that, they can be considered sports influencers.
Ooh.
But the beauty and also like the tragedy of that is, you're right. You know, I was very blessed that after I graduated from Howard University to take a teaching position at Coppin State University, where I taught 5 years, speech communications. And, you know, I was in college. I went to Westchester University for undergrad, and I went to Howard University for grad school. And I know how it is to be in college.
Right.
You know, I remember one time somebody was like, Quinn, you looking good. You losing weight. Like, you working out? I'm like, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? In about 7 days, because I'm trying to get this degree so I can advance myself. So I was super regular, you know what I mean, with, you know, I can't eat oodles and noodles to this day because there's a situation.
Yeah.
You know, relationship that I want to break up with because oodles and noodles was life back then. I don't want it, right? So, you know, I know how it was just to be a college student and trying to, you know, make ends meet and, you know, do different things. And I did not have influencer status. I could only imagine being a college athlete on scholarship when you know that your jersey, your name, your likeliness is broadcasted on all of these sports things, but I can't get a sandwich.
Yeah.
I can't send my mama some money home when I know for a fact that you are making billions and trillions off of my skill set, my talent, my likeliness, you know, my basically skill set.
Right.
So, you know, I believe it's overdue, and I'm not surprised that an institution like an HBCU saw this. And I can only imagine how frustrating it can be because I've been in college, and again, not an athlete, right? Just a person trying to better herself and advance educationally. But to know that you know for a fact that they are making money off of your skill set and talent, and their payment to you is a degree, that's the standard. That is bare bones minimum. And especially right now, there's a whole push with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So these white colleges or whatever are being diverse and inviting and attracting and paying these black athletes. They're inclusive in regards to inviting them and extending scholarships, things like that. The problem that I have is the E in DEI, the equity. Are you making sure these students are taken care of? So if you are, let's say, a not melanated athlete, you might come from a certain amount of, you know, money and dad can pay your rent or, you know, cash at you when you need some groceries. But when we had it, you know what I mean? You was robbing Peter to pay Paul and tell him not to tell John. So you were trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And I can only just imagine that I know as a college athlete, if I'm bringing all this limelight to a university, but I am struggling on the back end to make sure that I got clean draws.
You know, and I want to say it's nothing that the other big schools haven't been doing. The bigger schools, they've been doing this. They've been taking care of their players with booster clubs.
Right.
All right, booster clubs. These booster clubs that bring recruits in, put them up, have them party, have them do all kinds of things. Like, there's investigations being done on a couple different schools right now that their recruiting tactics are horrible.
Right.
All right, you got kids. They asked for Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy back. Now, what did he do wrong?
Nothing.
How wrong was Reggie Bush?
Nothing.
Be poor in college. Yeah, that's it. And like, people really want to chastise kids for that. Like, some kids got tattoos. For getting tattoos, they can have their NFL career wiped away. No eligibility.
Yeah.
Or you got kids that go to college. They don't make it in college. They come home. So they will still want to keep playing ball. They'll play semi-pro ball to try and get some money. And once they do that, that takes away any chance of them being able to go back to school to play football. And like, then what?
Right.
Because you're broke again. All right, because you don't have the money. You know, being punished for not having the money, for not having the finances, not being in a position to make it.
That's why we say it's expensive to be poor. Lady L, let's bring you in on this.
I think that this is awesome for our young people, and I think this is why we always talk about just advocating for HBCUs and having black teachers in a space, having them at schools and at universities just across the board so that your students can see their likeness reflected in them. And that matters, you know, especially if you show up in a space and nobody looks like you. How are you then communicating with them? How are you then sharing, you know, if you need anything, how do you then communicate that, right? All of those things matter, and that's why it matters having those type of people, having people of color reflected in the school so that they can make these decisions. Grambling State doing this is super cool.
Yeah.
And you know why they did it? Because they know
Right. Yes.
They know.
Right.
I bet you everybody in that financial aid office has been broke.
Yeah.
And they,
Right.
right. And sat there remembering their own experience of probably going to an HBCU and figuring out how they was going to pay for it.
Hopefully their financial aid office is in like Morgan States.
But either way, the fact that they said, you know what, we got to do something for these kids. What can we do to help elevate these kids?
Right.
They know it's ridiculous. They probably had students come to them before and be like, hey, coach, I can't get home for Christmas break.
Yep.
Hey, coach, I can't get back to school for the semester.
Yeah.
You know, HBCU coaches ain't getting them $1 million contracts.
Right.
They getting them big contracts.
Right.
I got to hold up this. Act like a rookie up here.
Right. With the headset, like,
dang, I got to lift my hand.
like, where do you think we are? The studio? It's just bougie. So, Quinn, you were going to chime in?
No, it's just, when you go to an HBCU, and I was very blessed to go to a predominantly white institution, also known as a PWI, and also go to an HBCU. So I have seen both sides of the coin. And it is real. You know what I mean? Whatever HBCU you go to, it's always something with financial building and Howard, we call it the A building. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And you would think this is the Howard University, and we got our stuff too. You know what I mean? We just finished up some things, but yeah, it's just like, I believe that, you know, HBCUs, because we know what it is. And that is very frustrating to know that somebody's making money off of you. And like you said, you don't even got money to go back to home, or you can't get a plane ride, or you just hungry. You know what I mean? You don't want the cafeteria food, right? You want something, you know, a warm meal. So it's just, I salute, you know, the HBCUs for understanding, like, you can, if you're making millions off of me, can you donate me some hundreds?
Right. Something.
And as you said that, I was thinking like, maybe we need to try to partner with HBCU or United Negro College Fund. Talk about HBCUs.
Yeah.
I don't think that Black News Channel talks about HBCUs
Well,
in a positive light as much as we do.
Well, Black News Channel was blackface. So hey, pow. Next story.
We're not going to talk about the Republican ownership of the Black News Channel.
Oh, you mean the owner of the Jaguars that owns the Black News Channel?
We're not talking about
Can I ask her about the dorms at Howard?
Look.
What are them dorms like? I keep hearing all these great stories about them.
So I lived in the Towers when I was at Howard, and the Towers I was actually in because I was in graduate school. So the majority, it wasn't as wild and probably stories as everybody else. So it was mostly like professional students. Like my roommate at the time actually is also from Lancaster. Her name is Dr. Keisha Williams Moran.
That's your roommate?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Howard. Yeah, so she was getting her PhD. I was getting my master's. So what I love about Howard is it had a professional dorm. So a lot of dental students, pre-med students, people studying pre-law. So it was just like the riffraff wasn't as crazy as it was. Now, if y'all want to talk about Westchester, I'm going to have to go off.
I'm talking about the conditions of the dorm.
But
they were decent, but also too, I think entering in there, like they were like, well, we don't have your X, Y, and Z. So I learned very early on that if you go to an HBCU, have your documentation, have your receipts. Because they were like, oh, we don't have you for a room here. No, here's my deposit, and they ended up getting us in a room. So you just got, it makes you responsible.
Yeah.
To go to an HBCU.
They did double book.
And I
booking like flights.
I wonder if that is a HBCU thing, because at Morgan, I was in the grad student dorm as well, and the same thing. It was professional students and everything like that. Like they not isolated us, but like we were separate from the undergraduate dorms. Now for us, we were in Morgan View, so the undergrad dorms weren't too far.
Right.
But at Shippensburg, for my undergrad, like the graduate students, they were intermingled with us.
Same thing at Westchester.
You know, so I wonder if that's like a HBCU thing where they kind of separate their grad students from the younger students.
Well, I will add on that really quickly. It has to be. If you are a freshman and I'm working on, and I already got a bachelor's and a master's, and I'm trying to become a dentist, I can't do the riff-raff.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just different experience. So I think it's needed and necessary to have that separation. But it was the same thing. When I was at Westchester, the graduate students were kind of intermingled. But I definitely had a more professional dormitory or residence hall when I was at Howard.
Yeah.
We're coming in saying Thirsty Thursday.
No, not in the dorm that I was in, and actually with which HBCUs, and then we're going to toss to the Lady Al for the next story. HBCUs on the educational side, like just that relationship with your teachers. You know, one of the first teachers in my life to ever call me smart was in graduate school. At Morgan. So like just that relationship, I still talk to those professors today versus not even talking to high school teachers and professors from Shippensburg. Is it the same with you? Do you have a better relationship with those Howard professors versus Westchester?
I was very unique. So when I got to Howard University, we had got a $4.5 million grant from the Kauffman Foundation.
Wow.
And they were looking to see if entrepreneurship could be taught on a college campus. So I was in the School of C, which is known as the School of Communications. So when they introduced this whole idea of concept of entrepreneurship, like, yeah, I want to do that when I grow up. I want to be an entrepreneur. So I got special permission to be in a School of Communication, but do classes in a School of Business. So I have a concentration in entrepreneurship. So when I got there, it was just a whole nother world. I remember Dr. Murphy, he owned 5 McDonald's in DC.
Wow.
And that's the first time I seen like a black man with like money, you know? And he just was like, I just want y'all to know when you're in this, if you can't find a job after you leave Howard, you create your own. And that just kind of was a different thing because I've been taught, go to school, get a good job. And he just was instilling that. But, Eldridge Allen, mentors of mine who just really embraced me and was like, you have it, Quinn. There's something about you. Like, I don't know. So now they're like, I told you. So, definitely there is a different bond. And I just think that going to an HBCU, your HBCU professors. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, live.
Well, to let y'all know,
that's their fire alarm.
We are going to try to power through this. Hopefully, there won't be no emergencies or anything like that. Right. Hopefully, this is just a test.
Right. We're
only
over
a test.
By the pool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Lady L, could you kindly take us to our next story, please, if you can?
Yes, I can. There's something new coming to Broadway, y'all. It used to be a book, then it was a film. Shouts out to Alice Walker because they're bringing back The Color Purple on Broadway. Yes, the film adaptation of the Broadway musical The Color Purple is taking shape, and it adds another big name to its cast. Taraji P. Henson, yes. She will star in the film as Suge Avery. Avery is a jazz blues singer who befriends the main character, Celie, after being a mistress to her tyrannical, abusive husband, Mr., who will join the cast and includes Emmy-winning actor Corey Hawkins, as well as Academy Award and Grammy winner Her. Hawkins will play Harpo, and Her will play his love interest, Squeak. All I can hear outside of these bells is, you told Harpo to beat me. Right. So Her's playing Oprah's character.
How? Like, yo, can't they get Monique? Like,
She's too old.
She too old. Oprah's character was old.
Not till the end.
How do you know? You didn't even know Oprah.
You were on the farm.
I don't see one commercial, and now I don't know Oprah.
And if you don't know this, The Color Purple Broadway musical is adapted from the 1985 Steven Spielberg film, which itself was adapted from Alice Walker's Pulitzer Prize-winning 1982 novel. It chronicles Celie's life from a teenager to an adult living in the mid-1900s South. The film itself was nominated for 10 Academy Awards. It starred Whoopi Goldberg as Celie, Margaret Avery as Suge Avery, Ray Dawn Chong as Squeak, and Oprah Winfrey, that's what it was, as Sophia. Winfrey went on to produce the film's Broadway musical adaptation in the early 2000s, which featured a cast including Jennifer Hudson, Michelle Williams, Jennifer Holliday, Heather Headley, and Fantasia. How did I miss this? This is before I got into the theater then. All right. We will produce the film version of the musical, which is being directed by Samuel Blitz the Ambassador Bazawule. The Brooklyn-based Ghanaian filmmaker is fresh off directing Black is King, Beyonce's 2020 film project built around her album. So playwright Marcus Garderly will write the screenplay for the movie musical. Garderly is an executive story editor for several episodes of the Showtime drama series, The Chi. I'm just loving how they're bringing all these dope Black people and they're bringing them into this film. So just to give you guys the juice, what you all want to hear, it's slated to come out December 20th of 2023. So next year, the end of next year. Not bad at all. So I'm excited. Now, did any of you guys ever actually like read the book, The Color Purple?
I didn't know The Color Purple was a book. I didn't. Go ahead, judge.
Shocked and appalled.
Oh my goodness. Judge me now.
Oh my goodness.
I thought it was just
a book.
No, I thought it was just a movie. Did you read the book?
Yeah, almost.
Who wrote it?
The person that wrote it. Who remembers the author?
Everybody should.
Alice Walker.
Yeah,
See?
what she just said.
See?
It's because I couldn't hear. My ears are still ringing.
Because of slavery
No.
that you experienced
I
as
don't know,
war
the-
as a youth.
Because of war.
The book was crazy, incomparable. If you haven't read the book, if you read Push by Sapphire, it kind of brought some of that to light just with the lack of parenting, the abuse, a Black girl trying to find herself in the midst of the abuse is kind of what it was about. So if you haven't read The Color Purple, if you have read Push by Sapphire, which that too was adapted into a film, hated the film. It was something like that. I don't even know what they turned the film into. Oh, Precious. Precious was a book called Push, written by Sapphire.
Oh wow! All right. Well, shout out and congratulations to Cookie. You know,
Is it going to be the same character? Because when you think about Suge Avery in the film, and you think about Cookie from Empire, I don't want them to be the same person, but I can see them being the same person. Like Suge had a lot of spice to her.
Yeah.
I think she can do it.
Yeah.
I think she can pull it off.
She's starting to get her Denzel on. Starting to get her Denzel on. You know, she has that role.
She just does Cookie in every movie.
Yeah, every movie. You know, what?
Well, I just think that could we do a little bit more? The Color Purple, yes, it's a great piece of literature and everything like that. But I'm looking at there are so many other stories, movies, scripts that have yet to be unearthed that can have these same resources put in and tell a whole new story, a whole new series.
The whole era of Black movies, the Black exploitation era.
Right.
We need this.
It's business though, because they already know that The Color Purple, the book, the movie already has a following.
Yeah.
So what I have found, that they just recreate to draw into that audience that already exists. And they feel like if I take a chance on producing, creating, or recreating something that doesn't have a fan base, will it be worth it? Whereas, The Color Purple, so many movies are now called classics. Whereas other movies, other films, other projects say, something like, All My Life, we had to fight. I mean, like, and we know the cultural context. So it's a money move. It is, we know how much Black people love this. They probably done studies and said, what's your favorite movie? Color Purple was probably one of the top 3. So they are going off this movie. This already has a fan base. Yeah. Let's recreate it. It did well on Broadway. It did well as a book. It did well as a movie. Let's do this and maybe bring this back and get more money. So it's a money thing, not a lack of content and creativity on what we can turn into a story. It is, there's a fan base. Let's let's see if we can monetize this even more.
I feel like they appreciate black dollars more now than what they did back when they first came out. Like, they appreciate it more, and they know the power that it has.
Yeah.
You know,
spending power, man.
well, yeah, why not? Why not recreate it?
That part, that's a whole conversation in itself, because I'm confused about how we have $1.4 trillion in spending power, but our net worth usually individually as a family is about $5,000. That just goes to show how many black people, because if we all are worth $5,000 and it equals to $1.4 trillion, there's a problem. That math don't make sense.
I think that at this point they might as well just do Color Purple too. They might as well. They coming to America too.
They can do an updated version.
Well, when Quinn talked about making money, I love that Oprah's name is on this.
Because she's about money.
We gonna give more money to Oprah. I'm cool with that. We gotta support black excellence. That's fine. Nobody says I'm not going to the movie theaters because I'm not going to support so and so. They're already a billionaire. Nobody does that. I'm going to support Oprah. Yes, this was a fantastic idea. Just for that, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna repurchase the book, reread the book, and wait for the Broadway to come out.
And buy the original movie.
So then Quinn was right. Quinn was right.
That's what you do. That's what you do. When it comes back, you're like, well, let me watch this again. Let me buy this movie.
Let me make my kids watch this.
Yeah, it's just like it's nostalgic. You go back to where you were the first time you watched a movie. So this coming up has you go down this rabbit hole to watch every other extension of this. Project. So that's
all
exactly
the variations of it. Shoot, I need y'all to listen, rich black people. I need y'all to do this with the Wiz. I know y'all did like a TV version of it some years ago, but I really need the film to be recreated. It don't got. I mean, we don't even got to do Tracy Ellis Ross because I'm not even sure if she can sing. But there's some people that can sing. We can bring back the Wiz. I'll be here for it.
I don't think they're.
All right. To get to the comments section.
Something
go ahead.
Inspiring, like along the lines of, I think we need to know this, but they probably won't play the movie in Texas or Florida.
Well, yeah.
Critical race theory, them not believing in it.
Mississippi.
But we have to know our history.
Right.
Kids, I feel like kids do need to watch this movie so they can see what it was like during the old days, back before the days of the iPad. A lot of kids they forget about that, and they don't watch movies because they're old. They don't want to watch them. Oh, that's old time. I don't want to really see it. But you have to make them sit down and watch some of these things.
Well, you know what? It's Black History Month, so I will encourage, and we probably do this at our house, I'll encourage all the parents out there to gather up your black movies and do some film nights, some film Fridays, some film Saturdays, some at-home film Sundays. In the afternoon, like 2 to 4. If you go to church is already over. That 2 to 4 time, right before dinner. And, pick out some black films that are in your repertoire or on your Netflix list and have a discussion. We did it a few years back with our oldest daughter and blew our minds.
Rebecca says, not just a number, but a name, so supporting the player of choice, talking about the NIL. Gary says, listening to Uncle Luke last night, I'm boycotting the Olympics, boycotting the Super Bowl. We need to get rid of the plantation mentality in the NFL and in college football. The NFL 32 owning everything but what the players do off the field. Luther Roderick Campbell, also known as Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke, and simply Luke, is an American rapper, promoter, record executive. Yes, Uncle Gary, we know all about. Right. Dr. Hamblin, she says commercial. So yes, we will have the patients are waiting commercial pop up. At the end of the show, they were saying we might want to go on a commercial break because of the
music,
the sound.
But that would have been a good idea.
But look,
we're live on air.
We didn't know when that was going to end. Like that could have been 5 minutes. That could have been 30 minutes. We gotta. This is live television, folks. Live. So this is what happens. And you saw the professionalism of the team. Did not let it wreck their composure and powered straight on through. The show must go on. Candace says, be safe, TCP family. And then Mary Gaddis, good morning, Mary. She says, read it. It's a great book. Folks, want to let you know that that it is that 9 o'clock hour. In about 15 minutes, we will switch gears here and talk everything Quinn. But until then, we have one more story for you. This comes out of One United Lancaster. And Pandemic Homeowner Assistance Program opens up for applications. So, Pennsylvania's Pandemic Homeowner Assistance Fund officially launched on Tuesday, offering financial aid to low and moderate income households struggling to pay mortgage, insurance, or other house-related expenses due to the coronavirus. The fund has $350 million available to distribute from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. It is being overseen by the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Authority. This program will be a life raft for the rising number of homeowners facing possible loss of their homes and foreclosure as a result of the financial impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on their lives. This was a statement from Governor Tom Wolf. In general, homeowners with up to 150% of area median income are eligible if they had a drop in income or increase in expenses due to COVID-19. For full information or to apply, we will put it in the comments section, but it is www.pahaf.org. Payouts are made directly to household creditors, the banks that hold their mortgages, utilities, and so on. Many households will be able to complete their applications entirely online. For those who need in-person assistance, the Housing Finance Authority is partnering with local nonprofits involved in housing and financial assistance, such as Tenfold and BASE. So shout out to BASE, they're right on Prince Street. So a similar program for rental households, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, also funded through ARPA, has been operating since last year. So again, we will put those links in the comments section. Share. But again, folks have talked about they're taking care of the renters. The renters seem to be taken care of. What about the homeowners? Well, now these applications are open for the homeowners to get their relief.
Is it too late?
It's
too late.
It is not, but I'm definitely going to have to send a link over to Miss Darlene over at NAN, because I know that when we were doing some of our debates, she was definitely looking for the people that live in her community, looking for some homeowners assistance. So I'll be definitely sending that out to her directly, because she was there. She was like, what we gonna do? Y'all got all this stuff for all these renters. What about us that bought our houses and invested here to live here? Like,
people have gotten kicked out. People have gotten foreclosed on, homeowners. So I feel like it's a little bit too late. You know, like all this time that passed, you didn't pass anything protecting homeowners, like homeowners who were getting kicked out. You know, you helped the people you helped renters, you know, but the homeowners that were paying the banks, they were just kind of left out there to hoping the banks would just, hey, listen, we're going to buy some time. Just wait. Your money will come. Some banks didn't buy that time.
but if you think about it in terms of capitalism, they gave money to business, right? They didn't give the money to the renters. They gave the money to the property owners who rent out their property.
That's what I'm saying. So they're homeowners too. I feel like they're double dipping.
But
Isn't
see,
this like
no,
double
they're
dipping?
not homeowners. They are real estate investors. They're not homeowners because they don't live in that house. They don't live in that community. But they have a house that is in that community. And then, and that's, they're not homeowners, they're business people. They gave money to business people. And that's exactly what happened with the PPP. They gave money to businesses, to large conglomerates. Why do the LA Lakers need money? I don't know.
Tom Brady bought a yacht with his PPP money.
And this is what I'm talking about. Like, they gave money to businesses. These are real estate investors. They don't live in these houses. They don't really invest in the houses that's in that Lancaster community. Their name's just on it. And the town knows that. They know that these houses are up for rent. That's why they did it. Like, it's very strange and convoluted when you see capitalism in motion. And that's what it is. We see it in motion. Like, they weren't helping the renters necessarily. They were helping those people who owned those houses.
There's a list of eligibility requirements, and it can be found at pahaf.org to see if you're eligible. All right, Pennsylvania is giving out more than 350 million in American Rescue Plan funding that was awarded to the Pennsylvania through the U.S. Treasury Department.
Yeah, and everything that is included in this is mortgage reinstatement, forward mortgage payments, property charges, delinquent utilities. So again, folks, find out if you are eligible. We put the link in the comment section, pahaf.org, just like Sarge said. From what Rebecca says, she says, thanks, but why so late? And then says, this money isn't going to people, it's going to banks, creditors, and utility companies. So, Lady L, to your point, this is more money going to business versus
to people.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all, we want to hear about the child tax credit for those of us that have children. Or we want to hear about student loan repayments for those of us that have gone to college. We want to hear about debt management or financial resources for that. And that's a lot of America. A lot of America isn't business owners. Why? Because like Quinn said earlier in the show, you send us to school so that we can learn how to get a good job.
Yeah.
But you're giving all our money to businesses. So we obviously should have learned how to run a business, or we would have been getting more money during this time period.
Right.
So I mean, it's really skewed about how this is happening, and this is why we're here, and we're going to continue to see people say, "I got to find a way. I got to find a way." Just like Quinn said earlier, she had a professor that said, "Hey, you can't get a job after you graduate. Go make one for yourself." Yeah. And it's crazy because I used to say that to you many moons ago. You know what? They not. Make it yourself. Figure it out. You got and so it's interesting that that's actually a different conversation than we are currently having with our young people about their futures and how do we get them ready so that they're not here. They're not these homeowners because something done happened to our economy and they're sitting there like, how am I supposed to pay my money? How am I supposed to pay these bills? You know, how can we prepare them to get ready for this in their futures?
Oh, man. Get back to it. Pride is something that keeps a lot of people from going out and even getting the help and funds that they need to keep going.
Right.
You know, whether it's pride in, I don't need no help, or just pride in like you can't ask for help because you don't want anybody to look at you differently.
Right.
You know, get the help you need. Like, get the assistance you need. Like, everybody struggles at some point, you know, and sometimes you just need a hand. So don't be prideful. Reach out. Get that hand.
Rebecca says, and if you haven't filed your taxes yet, just be prepared. All that child tax credit money you got, that was an advance payment. That means less money at tax time. That's going to be a big shock for a lot of people. Absolutely.
Scam.
Well,
scam.
I mean, but people talked about it. Like when will you need it? You know, when do you want it?
But if you just made it some part of some kind of UBI, that if you made a baby here in America, like here's the thing, you guys are putting enforcement of laws such as anti-abortion laws, making us have babies that we kind of are trying to not have, right? Because you're also not teaching about safe sex in school. So now here we go with these babies that we are having, but you also don't want us on food stamps. You don't want us on medical assistance, but you wanted us to have the baby. And now we're saying, hey, we need resources. We need supports. That child tax credit, and now I get it. That's why it was a credit, because the expectation is that you're going to pay it back later. So then you set people up. You set American citizens up, because if I already didn't have a job and you gave me money out of nowhere, you are then, planning for me to get a job? Or are you planning for me to make enough money to pay you back on some stuff that I kind of didn't ask you for? But I don't got to pay you back for the rental assistance, but I got to pay you back for the child tax credit? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And what I'm seeing here is the American system building on poor people, or building on people who aren't making enough money. You know, the lower income people, anybody making under $75,000 a year, they're coming after you. And that's what it is. That's what's up with the Venmo. That's up with the Cash App. they're locking down, and we had this conversation because the government can't fight rich people. They can't fight the LA Lakers. They're not going to fight Shake Shack. They're going to fight us in this room. And it's unfortunate that that's where we're at with this. But, I'm going to keep putting it out there. I think we should sue the American government, but that'll be this other lawsuit, because the first lawsuit is suing them for black people. Because we're our own social system as a people here in America. I don't care what anybody says. We are our own special caste system. And nobody else here was equivalent to a laptop. That light, that's us. These phones, that's us. We're the same. Nobody else has that history here in America except for us. But as I digress, happy Black History Month. Don't forget, you can check us live tomorrow at Crispus Attucks Community Center for week 5 of the Health Equity Now Music Festival featuring Swim Good. I'm so excited.
Yes, indeed. So folks, we are going to switch gears here. We are in Maryland. We are in Towson. We are in Baltimore for a reason, and that reason just happens to be right here. So look, we are going to get in it. Sit back, folks. Buckle up and listen to greatness. First off, Quinn, can you tell us what the really big news is for those that aren't following you on social media? Can you take us through the process of this big announcement?
Yeah, and thank you so much for traveling. I really do appreciate it. When we connected and you was like, we're coming to Baltimore, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I can really appreciate that because I definitely still have ties. Everybody that, I know, my family is still pretty much still in Lancaster. So it just really feels good that y'all thought enough of me to travel from the highways and the byways to come. But yeah, about a couple of months ago, I'm a part of a mastermind. I just believe that just because you graduate from high school or college, it doesn't mean that the learning process stops. In fact, it just begins. So for the last 2 years, I have been very intentional and deliberate about honing in on my craft as a professional speaker, as an energetic MC, and as a master moderator. And I'm a part of this mastermind. We get together every other Monday and we just talk about how we can grow as a professional speaker. And one of the guys in the mastermind, his name is Pierre Quinn, no relation. That happens to be his last name. Said, hey, Quinn, I saw that AT&T is looking for Black future makers. And I'm like, okay. He's like, they're looking for, individuals who are making history now, individuals who are giving back to their community or their culture. And I think that you should apply. I know what you're doing with your Speak Black Women movement. I know how you are very unapologetic about amplifying the voices of Black women. And I feel like you will be a good fit. So I'm like, okay. So I go on this website with AT&T. I see some of the honorees. And I'm not going to lie, your girl was a little bit intimidated. I was just like, you think that I deserve to be up here with these people? And just to give you some context, some of the other dream makers were D Nice, LeBron James, Sarah Jakes Roberts, Tashina Arnold, which is Pam from Martin.
Right.
Like, it was not like a shabby list. It was like movers and shakers. And, so I was like, okay. So how the contest worked was you had to submit a 60-second video on how you were advancing the culture, how you were advancing the community. So I was just like, all right, well, I talk. So give me the microphone, give me the megaphone. And literally, I recorded this video. I talked about my podcast, Speak Black Woman. I talked about, my book. I talked about why I'm on a mission to amplify, highlight, and illuminate the voices of Black women in business. And I kind of let it go. You know how you just submit it and you let it go.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. And I just kind of, whatever. Every now and then, I don't even think I checked it. It just was like a bucket. I just checked it off, like not even thinking about it. And literally, which is so interesting, I happened to be home. And home is Lancaster. So when I say home, that's what I mean. I happened to be home, and I was at actually Keisha's house.
Oh, wow.
Keisha Morant Williams. So sometimes when I go home, like I'll stay with her, or do whatever. And I get like this buzz, this email, and then I get like a message, and I'm like, what's going on? It says, AT&T, congratulations, you have been chosen as a Black Future Maker. And I'm like, am I a finalist? Like, what does this mean? So first I was like, somebody better not be playing with me, right? But I'm thinking, nobody knows I applied, you know, so it couldn't be a joke. So immediately I did my little background check to make sure the person's name was really somebody who worked at AT&T.
Let me not get excited yet.
You know, we don't trust like that. Right. Sure, like, you ain't playing with me because, you know, I'm emotionally connected to all the stuff that I do. So once I realized that, it was a real thing, I, you know, went through and they said, you know, don't announce this. We got some other, you know, legals and paperwork and everything to do. So after that happened, you know, it was about a 2-month time span between when I submitted versus when I found out that I was actually one of the awardees. And let me just say, AT&T has been absolutely phenomenal on so many different levels. Not only did they select me, and I am literally amongst some awesome and amazing people. I mean, my picture was next to Charlemagne the God. Like, I mean, like, it's been so major. They sent me a swag box that's out of this world. They sent me a $10,000 check to be able to do more things for what I want to do.
Nice.
And it's just a relationship as well, you know? So now I have a contact, and there's some other things going on that I want to get in and do some things, but it just feels really good that, you know, again, a bigger brand is highlighting not just the mega superstars that you see on an everyday basis, but people like me who is trying to make a mark in Lancaster and trying to make a mark in Baltimore. They saw something of me. They saw value in my voice that they decide that I deserve to be amongst those honorees. So I'm just super excited. So 60-second video that led to a $10,000 opportunity on top of media opportunities and so many things behind the scenes as well.
But this is your thing, though, because in the past you have talked about how important that elevator pitch is.
Yes.
You know, and like you've been talking about pitching for I mean,
yes.
Like it seems like forever, but like I would say at least America, for a decade you've been talking about pitching.
So let's talk about that, because you said a decade. So you're absolutely right. I've been speaking, serving, hosting, emceeing for the past 17 years. Don't judge my baby face, you know. Black don't crack, baby don't age, right? You know what I mean? So, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and what makes it so interesting to me is the decade piece. And you know, Rashida's here, and she knows how I feel like I'm about to dominate the decade. And one of my favorite quotes is from Tony Robbins, and he says that people, you know, overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in a decade. So I want to be very intentional about the next 10 years, you know, and the reason why this is so interesting is because in 2012, I was selected by Black Enterprise Magazine to go to Chicago to pitch my business. At the time, I had a purse business called Purse Paparazzi.
Yes, I remember that.
And they selected me. They did this nationwide search. So this has been favor on my life for a long time. I definitely recognize like the favor, the blessings, the abundance, the doors that have been opened. So we literally went down there, and I had 60 seconds to pitch my business, Purse Paparazzi. It's so interesting because there was 10 of us. We had 60 seconds to pitch our business. 5 of us were eliminated. 5 of us were still standing, and we had to pitch our business again for 30 seconds. Here's the prize money. The prize money was $10,000. This was in 2012, okay? So I pitched my business, thank goodness, got to the second round. I pitched my business again for 30 seconds, and the winner was not Quinn Conyers. I was mad, wanted to cuss mad, like big mad. Like I had a plan for that money, man. Right. You know what I mean? Like wanted to have a conversation with God on the side, mad. Like what's going on? Like I'm praying for this. I wanted this money. I literally had a whole plan on what I was going to do with the money, and I lost. And 2 interesting things happened there, and that was, again, when you said a decade, there was a woman there, and she was looking at me, and she kept taking notes and looking at me and taking notes. And finally, she's like, hey, I'm a writer for Black Enterprise Magazine, and I would love to feature you on one of our upcoming editions of our magazine. I said, bam. I don't know if you were at the same competition that I was at, but I lost. You might want to go talk to the winner. And she says, I'm very aware of this competition, but I like the way you pitched. And in that moment, something clicked for me. I realized that how many of us had awesome and amazing businesses, but we struggled to verbalize our value. We didn't know how to articulate our awesomeness. So we were literally having these multi-million-dollar business ideas, but nobody was buying into it because we didn't know how to explain ourselves. So I began to pivot and shift before the pandemic, I was like, I want to work with entrepreneurs and teaching them how to be the spokesperson for their business. That's what I wanted to do. So it's interesting because exactly 10 years ago, I lost a 60-second competition that had the prize money of $10,000. Fast forward 10 years later, I enter another competition that's a 60-second and the prize money is $10,000. What a full circle moment.
Right.
It sounds like one of those moments where it's like, delayed doesn't mean denied.
Yes, absolutely.
So then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like speaking from like looking at one of the testimonials, Natalie Williams, the executive director from the Women's Business Center of Charlotte, she said, what you bring with you is a contagious energy that ignites the fire in the trenches of someone's ambience. Her passion and commitment to small business and entrepreneurs is easily seen and felt from her one-on-one consultation to her speaking delivery. And I feel like everything right there is right on point. Like we're seeing it in real time, folks. You guys witnessing this? Like I'm excited for this interview. Like,
yes.
I'm kind of enjoying it.
Maxine Cook says, Quinn Conyers, Black History right now, continued blessings, much love, and then has the red, black, and green hearts. So let's go back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into this realm of entrepreneurialism? What really got you? Like, what was the kickstart of this all that started your empire, really?
There's so many ways to answer that question, and I will start here. When I was in 9th grade, literally at McCaskey East, I was at McCaskey East, and
new building.
Yeah, in the new building. I think it's 20 years old now. I was like,
that's crazy.
Wow. So I was at McCaskey East, and it was very interesting because I knew then, I was like, I want to be a talk show host. And I remember saying that out loud. And everyone was looking at me like, what? I was like, okay, I want to be a teacher. Because nobody was talking like that, right? So I knew that I was made for the masses. I knew that I wanted to speak and serve. And at first, I thought I wanted to do news, but I just felt like that wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to add more personality. Just the fact of 3 people were killed in a fire yesterday, and on to those Ravens. It just didn't feel right to me. You know what I mean? So I just was like, I don't think I want to do that. So that was probably like my first inkling on, I knew that I wanted to do something with the media. But I would say the entrepreneurship bug really was inspired by my husband, Issa Abdul Rahim. Shout out to him, who took the kids to school today. Because, I'm also a mom out here, so I met him. And at the time, I met him at a place called Eden's Lounge. If you're in Baltimore, you know what that's about, Eden's Lounge. And you gotta be open-minded to where you can find your husband, y'all. Some of y'all out here could be finding husbands and wives, but you, yeah. So literally, we met there, and it was like our first date. And I went over to his house to hang out. And I saw like a bunch of luggage, and I was like, you traveling? You going somewhere? He's like, no, I sell stuff. I said, well, what do you sell? He said, well, let's be clear. I do have a 9-to-5. This is my side hustle, because I guess the black girl in me was just like, what you do? What's going on with this situation? So literally he goes over, and there was black suitcases, brown suitcases, and he immediately opens up the bag, and he starts like taking out all of these different purses, and my eyes got really, really wide. And literally I picked out 4 different bags that I liked, and I could see the wheels turning in his head. And he was like, all right, for all those 4 bags, it'd be $60. So I looked at him, and he just was like, just because you thought you were cute, you won't get these bags for free? Oh, $60. And that's when I knew I was in love, y'all. Because I was like, this is a man who was about his business. And literally what happened to me was I saw how he was working and doing it, and my wheels started to turn. But the turning point was when I went home, because I started to wear these bags, right? Where'd you get these bags from? I'm like, oh, my friend at the time, we went together, we went official, right? So my friend, he sells bags. So it was one Christmas, I went home to Lancaster. I keep saying home like y'all not from there, right? Because most people just think I'm from here. So I went home, and I literally had purses that I bought home because all my family members and friends were saying, bring home some of these purses. So I did that. So I literally baby boy popped the trunk style, had everybody come over and look at these bags. Within 20 minutes, I sold every single bag that I had.
Wow.
I promise you, I never sold drugs a day in my life, but the rush that I felt after I sold those bags, I called him, was like, I want into this business. And I was
I need
like,
my re-up.
yeah. So, I'm like, are you to connect? What we doing? Like, you know what I mean? So I immediately was like, put me in on this. And my business brain went to work. I was like, if we're going to do this, we're not going to be bag lady. I'm not going to be a bag man. We need an LLC. We need a website. We need all this. And he was just like, huh? What? Huh? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to make this official. So, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, no. And then literally he took me to New York. He had a wholesale license. So I had the entrepreneurial mindset from Howard, but I never really like activated until I met him. So when he took me to New York, and like I was like, what? And I'm looking at like commerce. I'm looking at where somebody's buying a shirt for $1 and selling it for $20. And I'm like, oh, your pricing is wrong. These bags need to be X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, I just came in from the infrastructure. He had, the gristle, the grind and the hustle. Right? When we partnered, I added to the business side to not see this as we are hustling, but I saw a corporation. So I credit my husband for dropping that seed of entrepreneurship and us joining forces to really make Purse Paparazzi not just a bag business, but a bag empire.
Yo, and I remember it was like wildfire. Like, you got to get Quinn's bags. Like, they didn't call it Purse Paparazzi. They were like, yo, you got to get Quinn's bags. You got to get Quinn's bags. Like, you ain't got one of Quinn's bags. Like, my mom would be like, I got to get one of Quinn's bags. So like, just the fact that like the hometown took it and shaped it around you, your persona, your name, your brand, like that was nothing short of amazing. Let's bring Lady L into this conversation.
Well, I want to talk about the book, but before we get there, where's Purse Paparazzi at now?
Yeah, so great question. I had to retire that business. And the reason why was because, and let's be clear, that served me well, but I was financially successful, but I was unfulfilled. It was a time where it worked for a while. And even when I was doing that, because we were very blessed, we were licensed with all the Divine Nine sororities. I'm talking about how I was licensed with the AKAs, the Deltas, the Zetas, the SGROs. We even crossed over and got licensing with HBCUs. So I was licensed with Howard, North Carolina A&T. I mean, we had a good run, for about 5 or 6 years. But it was just him and I, because I literally quit my full-time job to run this bag business, and we did very well. But here's the problem. We started having kids, right? So as a mom, I can't get on the road like that anymore. So I was doing regional conferences, boules, homecomings. It's just my lifestyle had changed. So I couldn't do that anymore. And to be honest with you, that's why I choose Black women. And the reason why I choose Black women, because when I was selling the purses, so many of the AKAs, so many of the Deltas, the SGROs, the Zetas would say, girl, what else do you do? I know you sell bags, but you're giving me a different energy. What else do you do? Because there was a time where I stopped speaking. I stopped serving. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But I knew that it was more. And it was like God was just telling me, Quinn, that ship has gone and it has sailed. It's time to move on. And I had to retire that. And it was a tough decision because it was a money maker. You know what I mean? And sometimes if you don't give things up and it's timing, God will snatch things away. And that's what started to happen. We couldn't literally keep bags on the shelf to nobody want a bag. Anybody want a bag? Anybody want a bag? They 2 for 1 at this point, whereas it was a hot commodity. And then all of a sudden it started to die down. But God had been told me that it was time to move on and get back to speaking and serving and hosting and using my God gift of communication. And I had stopped to focus my energy on building this bag business.
Man, and it really, I mean, at least on this end, it really seems like that speaker part of you, that communication part of you, again on this side, it seems like that never stopped. Even during the Purse Paparazzi years, it just seemed like that was always a part of your brand. Lady L, did you want to ask another question?
Yeah. So you do have a book out called "Speak Black Woman." Can you tell us about the book? Can you tell some of our Black women in the audience about the book?
Yeah, so I believe that, Black women are the fastest group of growing entrepreneurs. Literally American Express, thank you. American Express, there no way here we go. So there was no way, here's the copy of the book. And again, this is actually available on Target, Barnes & Nobles, and Amazon online. However, if you go to speakblackwoman.com, you can get it directly from me, and I'll personally sign it. And what I realized is that many Black women were starting businesses. We were raising our hands to be entrepreneurs. We were raising our hands to be business owners. And we didn't understand that with that becomes a title spokesperson. So we would have these awesome and amazing businesses. And then we start these businesses and we get invitations to do podcast interviews. We get invitations to be a speaker or a panelist, but we didn't know how to talk about our business, our book, or our brand. So I wrote this book to show Black women how they can profit from public speaking, how they can make income off of their intellectual property, how they can get paid to be persuasive and present. Because a lot of times we were doing these interviews, we were speaking, didn't understand an honorarium or a speaker fee, and just doing it. So I wanted to teach Black women how to maximize and monetize all speaking opportunities on behalf of their business, their book, or their brand. I believe that your voice in your business is your superpower. And too many of us are muted, muzzled, or silenced. And when you begin to speak out, I believe that you can earn ridiculous revenue and be super successful if you have public speaking as a part of your marketing, your lead generation, or even overall just how you attract and keep customers and clients. So I put that in there. I share my story about how I even started speaking, how I lost my voice for a couple of years, not technically, but literally, So all of that. And again, speakblackwoman.com. It's one of my prized possessions, and I'm really proud of it. And also really proud that it's, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, and Target. Like, you can get it.
In the comment section, folks. So
give it up for our Black lady author.
Right? Sarge.
Yeah, so throughout this time, what has your support system been like? Like, as far as like from friends, from childhood to now, like all the bonds you have made over the years. Like how have you kept up with them, like kept maintenance on them friendships and relationships?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm so committed to being successful and surrounded. Like, I don't want to be this journey and be successful and look up and I'm solo. Ain't nobody around to share it with, right? So I have girl gangs, I have masterminds, I got day ones, especially from Lancaster. Corinne Seals, Tiana Parker, right? Andrea Brown. You know what I mean?
Right, shout out to the team.
So those are some of my friends from Lancaster that we still get together and we're still there. But then I got friends from, Westchester. I got friends from Howard. I got friends here, you know what I mean, that I also have connected with. So I have just built friendships along the way and have sister circles and group chats like everybody else, because sometimes I'm trying to figure it out as well. And literally I talk about a good friend of mine, Tiffany Bethia, who I believe her DNA is on my voice because when I stopped speaking, she's the one who reactivated my voice. So I'm grateful for people like, Rashida, who is here. I got, Shanier, who styles me and does different things. I have a team that handles all my stuff. Shout out to Sharita. She's my virtual assistant. So It's like, it's a community. It's a tribe. It's a team. I didn't wake up like this. I got a team who prepared me for this. You know what I mean? So I'm just grateful that I am able to, and also I'm really proud of this. It's Black History Month.
Yes,
yesterday,
it is.
I gave a Black History Month bonus, to my team.
That's
what I mean?
dope. That's dope.
Because I can. Just because I can.
Right.
That's how you flex.
Yeah. On her Grambling state. I love it.
Listen,
I love it.
NIL deal for you.
Right.
Tell you what, happy Black History Month.
Right. And I love it because more than likely they'll take that bonus and then patron a Black business and then it's reciprocal. Exactly. I love it. So throughout all of this, what keeps you going? Because you are doing, I don't even want to say, oh, you're doing a lot. I want to say you are doing amazing things, and there's a lot of capacity that you are encompassing. So, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you sane?
Yeah, you know what? I believe that many people are called, few are chosen, and less are obedient. And I believe that part of my assignment in this world is to be a voice for that little black girl, that little brown girl from a small town. So I believe that if I can live my life and dream and go after things, that is going to be an impact, because we only can comprehend if we see someone who looks like us achieving certain things. So I'm doing this, but I feel like I'm a vehicle, right? So if I keep standing tall and not shrinking in what I'm doing, that is going to silently but also publicly give other black women a chance to dream, a chance to speak. So what keeps me going is knowing that somebody else, from Lancaster who lives on Green Street, Ann Street, you know what I mean, wherever they live, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, if Quinn can do that, so can I. But even deeper than that, I believe that I'm called to amplify people who have a big dreams and hopes, but they live in a small town. So we might know about Baltimore, Maryland, but we might not know about Towson. We might know about Philly, but we might not know about Lancaster, right? We might not know about Reading, Harrisburg, Coatesville. You know what I mean? So I believe that part of my assignment and what keeps me going is I know if I show up and I shine, that is going to give permission for other black women to do the same. And more importantly, there's power in our voices. I'm only 5 foot tall, y'all, but when I open up my mouth, I become a 5-foot giant. And I know that if I can speak and serve and stand tall with excellence, that is going to be a rub-off effect on other people. So me being quiet, me being muted, me being muzzled is disrespectful to the gift that God has given me.
I love it. I love it because talking about speaking, one of our ancestors, Marcus Garvey, was big on speaking, elocution. How are you speaking? How are you presenting yourself? Do your words make sense? Or are they jumbled over each other?
Yeah.
Because he believed that in how you speak is going to impact how people receive you.
Facts. I mean, if you look at everything, Warren Buffett said a person's value is increased by 55% on their ability to speak. But more importantly than that, like public speaking, let's be real, is the number one fear of all Americans. So, how are things won? I mean, we think about presidential election. There's debates. People want to see how well you can speak. If you can speak well, I trust you more. If you can have a conversation with me, it's like, even if you meet somebody and you're dating, they can look good from afar. I mean, from head to toe. But as soon as they open their mouth and they talking crazy, you're like, oh no, you just turned me off. So, shout out to my husband.
Hey.
I just was talking about him. But yeah, once you understand and you realize the value in your voice, like you mentioned, like you can start a revolution. When you understand the value in your voice, people can rally around things. When you can speak well, people can trust you, know you, join your movement. So speaking is like literally such an underestimated skill. In the corporate America, they used to say it was a soft skill, right?
Yeah.
But I believe now everybody is realizing the value of speaking up. And to be honest with you, speaking has been a part of our lives since day one. Think about it, right? When I took my son, we have 2 sons. We have a 4 and a 6-year-old. And I remember taking my son to his first doctor's appointment. And the doctor said, does he know at least 6 words? And I was thinking about, no was the first one. Every child knows no, right? And I went through it, and it was interesting to me because she didn't ask if he knew numbers. She was really evaluating his development based on his speech. But if you think about that even more, if somebody gets married, you can't give a thumbs up. You can't give a head nod. You have to verbally say, I do or I will. If you're getting arrested, God forbid, they have to read you your Miranda rights. Anything you say or do can be held against you in a court of law. So speaking has been a part of our history and our language, and I don't think we put as much information into it. Or if let's say you have a child and your child is 6 years old and they haven't said a word, you're running around to every specialist, right? So speech has such an impact, and I believe that we don't give it as much weight as it deserves.
Absolutely.
Or just even at the right time, right? Because we're weighing the words of a baby, but then we encourage them to speak less as they get older.
That part.
And then when they're 35, we're like, well, why aren't you talking? Well, because I spent the last 20 years you telling me to STFU.
Right.
So how do we go back and say,
some of y'all was like STFU. Okay, got it. Was that at college?
Oh, man, go ahead, Sarge.
All right, so 5 years from now.
Microphone.
All right,
Yeah.
5 years from now. What's the goal? What can we expect from you 5 years from now?
5 years from now, it's so, it's so fun because I'm so focusing on here and being present in the moment and not thinking about there. Because I feel like sometimes we get so, we just get, attracted and infatuated with there. So, you know, to be honest with you, is to grow this business or empire, like, and to make sure that I'm still teaching, I'm still training, but you know, my ultimate goal is I want to do this on a bigger, grander level. I want to write more books. I want to host major Black excellence. I want to inhale cocoa butter and exhale Black girl magic. I want to do stuff like, you know, Black Girls Rock or host Essence Festival.
Yes.
I want to do this. I want to host an event in Lancaster called the Lancaster Area Summer Entrepreneurship Retreat. I want to host it on July 17th because it's 717. So I want to So I want to do stuff like that. You know, my husband's from Trenton. We talked about doing some things there. So it's like I'm adopting right now $1 million mentality. So when I step into my millions, that I can, you know, show the world the beauty of Baltimore. And I want to say the beauty of Baltimore because I met my husband here. I have my kids here. That's my best friends here. And I believe that this city doesn't get the love and attention that it needs. We are more than just The Wire. We are more than just being the highest on the death threat roll, right? I want to make sure that people understand that Lancaster is a great place to live and raise a family, you know? So it's doing what I'm doing on a bigger, amplified, crazy stage. And I've committed. I don't want to settle as a Black woman for safe success.
Right.
I want to operate at stadium success.
Yes.
And I need money to do that.
We need to have her meet Dr. Hamlin. y'all put some stuff together.
You know what? I mean, did you guys have a chance to meet at the Black Women's ball that the National Association of Black Women in Harrisburg had hosted? She was one of the awardees.
Yes.
The health
I emceed that event.
Yep.
I did. Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Come together.
It
Come
was
together like
crazy 'cause
Voltron.
I was there as Dr. Hamlin's guest. Quinn was hosting, and then Keisha Morant Williams is a member of the organization. And we sitting up here like, oh, we're all in here together. And
yes.
I don't know how Harrisburg could handle all that. All of that. Like it. Right. There ain't like man.
Clubs are closed down.
Hey, had to be.
We were looking around. It was a room full of Black people.
Yeah,
and
it was good.
I felt like I was underdressed. I mean, they came to the T, ball gowns, the big church hats, some of them. I was like, oh, I'm underdressed.
I guarantee you, God himself was there. He was like, oh, they down there. Hold on. Let me go down there to somebody.
No, they first Sunday.
Like, hold on. All this magic. But folks, want to let you know that you are listening and watching TCP in the morning, brought to you by Patients Are Waiting, our Black lady doctors. Tomorrow, folks, the Health Equity Music Festival continues on with week number 5. So what does that mean? Tomorrow, that means that you can come on down to the Crispus Attucks Community Center. You can get yourself a flu shot. You can get yourself a booster shot. You can get yourself your first COVID shot. You can get yourself your second COVID shot. Or if you're already taken care of with that, you can enjoy some food by Soulfully Famous. Oh my God. Yes. Cannot wait. My mouth is literally watering right now anticipating tomorrow. And then also the services as well. Free tablets provided by Boost Mobile. Then you have rental assistance. And you have all the other assistance places as well through Tenfold and the Community Action Partnership. You also have Makeup and Magic there. Shout out to my sister, Brittany. She is this week's Makeup and Magic makeover person. So yes, salute to that. I'll be transparent. Don't know if that was fair, but hey, America. Look, hey,
family member a part of this or anything like that, or?
If the NFL can do nepotism, then you know.
I mean, to be fair, her baby did get vaccinated.
Yeah, both. Well, no.
He got a full vaccination.
Yeah,
he got the first dose and the second dose.
Yeah, that is
true. So
true.
she was entered to win at least 2 times.
Yeah.
What? I won week 1 and I wasn't allowed to get mine. I got problems. I got some issues there. I'm still waiting on my makeup there, Melody.
And they took our kids out. They had a conversation with Marquise. I just heard them on the phone. They were like, I know you got your kids to shine. I'm sure y'all don't want them to have makeup. So, we can take them out. I'm sitting up here like, Fred would love this.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
take her out.
So, folks, just to let you know, again, it goes down beginning at 6 p.m. p.m. So switching gears here, back to Quinn for our last 15 minutes of the program. I remember looking from afar in Lancaster and just like, man, you know, Quinn is doing some amazing things, and like some of the things that I did, you know, I kind of I won't say copy, but was inspired by what you did, and I was like, let me follow that blueprint. You know, it was kind of like WWQD. You know, like what would Quinn do? You know, you know, and like I followed this model, especially with entrepreneurialism, because we weren't taught entrepreneurialism growing up. And the closest person that I could, you know, use as an example or as a mentor in my mind, you know, was you. So it was like, all right, well, you know, let me copy, and it has really helped out with like things like a TCP and whatnot. So do you do consultations, and what have been some of the testimonials that you heard from people that you have helped out in the past?
Yeah, so much. And let's make that official. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to support, you know, TCP. I was even thinking in my head, tomorrow at 6, I can come home. You know what I mean? Wow. Let me focus on, see what I can do, get these kids, you know. But, you know, I appreciate that, and I would love, so anything I can do to support the network, even if it's like every now and then some events, I can be a correspondent. You know, let me know how I can support and serve, because we got to stick together. Absolutely. You know? And, you know, I think in regards to, what was the question? I forgot. Testimonials. Yeah. You know, well, let's talk about that for a second. You know, so, you know, it's one thing. Oh, all right. It's one thing to sing your own praises. It's another thing when people can validate your voice. Right. And I have just been head down, like, listen, I'm not going to wait for a company or corporation to pay me what I'm worth. I'm going to get out here. You know, I started with Education Channel 77 here in Baltimore. You know, that was public access. I was a host. I was a reporter for them. They weren't paying me nothing. But guess what? I got a chance to interview MC Light. I got a chance to interview Neo. I got a chance to interview some of these people. You know, I cover different events. So I think that what I have done has been inspiring to people, but I think more importantly, how I look at it as the testimonials is like, I'm just a living, breathing copy of what I say to do. So anytime somebody has something nice to say about me, it makes me feel good, because sometimes it's like you're one person on social media and then you're a different person in person, right? So I just try to mirror that. So anybody who has kind words for me, anybody who, you know, appreciates me, I appreciate that, because words are important. So what people say about you, whether it's a video testimonial or written testimonial, it means a lot, especially because somebody like me is, I want to leave a legacy with my language. So when people write those testimonials, I read them about my book. When people go to my LinkedIn, I read that, because it makes me feel like I'm doing something right. So if I'm able to serve and support, that's what I like to do, because I don't use the word help. If you want me to go into that, I can. But I don't talk about us helping people, because in my idea, help is discount dialect. So we don't help around here. I can serve, I can support, I can assist, I can strengthen, I can amplify, I can empower, but we ain't out here helping.
Lady L.
I love it. Listen, you talked about coming back home for an event. You don't even know. I got my Lancaster Black Renaissance event thing going on in my head. right. So Quinn, and it's actually popping. So if you don't know, I started not a support group, but I wanted to find other Black people in the greater Lancaster community and build community and build supports and help us all create together. And we've been doing this, and as you talk about, I was like, you know what? These women that we have in our group would love to hear from Quinn. Like, as you talk about it, I'm like, oh, they would just die.
And that's why I want to do the Laser, Lancaster Area Summer Entrepreneurship Retreat. I want to take the idea, the notion that you can create and build your own empire, even if you're from Lancaster. Because think about it, growing up, if you worked at Kellogg's or Donnelly, you was in, right? Yeah. That was the best jobs. Yeah. So for me, WJAL was the only thing that kind of made sense. But what if you want to start your own business? What if you want to flourish? What if you want to get in media? So part of why I want to do that Laser is because I want to expose entrepreneurship as a viable career option to people who are from Lancaster.
And see, with that WWQD, like you were.
That's the whole thing.
It is like you were that example, at least for me, of that person that can come out of the small town and make it in the bigger city. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't too many examples, none that I could really think of people, at least in my network, who left, went to college, and then went to a larger city and progressed, and then progressed entrepreneurially. Like you were like a unicorn in that, you know, which is why I was like, all right, well, WWQD. You know, Sarge, you want to ask a question?
Yes, well, not ask a question. I just want to tell you something.
Yes.
Tell me something.
You motivate me. You motivate me. Like,
tell me about the gun line, boss.
Everything that you're doing, what you're doing.
You need to pivot and transition, or have a new idea, or when it's time to bring that new idea or part two to life.
Right.
Like, I think that's super awesome, and I love it. I love the title of your book, Speak, Black Women. Speak, speak, speak. Yes, I think it's phenomenal. Everything that we dropped the information for Quinn down in the comments for you. Also, if you want to purchase the book, check out her website. It's down there in the comments. But I just want to say thank you for joining us. You will be getting an invite to come back home to do some other things, and I'm pretty sure that our audience members will be digging you up, looking for some stuff as well.
And I'm just going to throw this out there before Sarge takes it. Anything that is happening here, as you see, we're on the road. We travel. And
princesses, my queens, my kings, my baby girls, and everything in between. To he, to she, to they, to we, baby. We appreciate you. We love you. And I'm going to leave you with this from Muhammad Ali. You don't lose if you can't. If you don't lose if you get knocked down. You lose if you stay down. Listen, the dream is free, but the hustle, that's sold separately. Hope to see y'all. Have a great weekend.
All right, folks.
I did.
Folks, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Again, to Quinn, thank you for having us. We are not going to let this sit here. We're going to keep it going. Looking forward to the future. Again, congratulations on AT&T. That is amazing, amazing, amazing. Folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will see you on Friday, and then we'll see you on Monday.
It was a no-brainer for me in that aspect. As far as the pandemic affecting communities of color, anytime you have extreme situations like a pandemic, not like we have these all the time, but it's always going to affect communities of colors or those underrepresented in life even more than other communities. And so I would read in the paper or see on the news the numbers and the disproportionate rates of how it was affecting people of color. And so I thought it was very important for me to do my part in making sure that I was safe and making sure that people in my family could be safe. I just